As a beginner, you should be focused on learning and mastering one tool at a time. I know you've heard that saying before, jack of all trades, but master of none. And I'm telling you that this is the situation that you're going to find yourself in if you purchase a DAW too early as a machine producer. By giving yourself too much to learn at one time, you run the risk of not learning and mastering anything. Most DAWs have way too many features for a beginner producer to wrap their head around, because most DAWs are really full-featured, complex tools that will take years to master not only the technology but the technique required in order to utilize everything that's inside of those programs. So when you're first getting into making music and beat making on Maschine, it's too much at one time to try to, to split your focus between two different things.
In my opinion, right now, purchasing a DAW would be like giving a 15-year-old permit driver the keys to a Formula One race car. You're still trying to learn the basics. You're still trying to understand the fundamentals of music production, the fundamentals of audio engineering. And that's just like, giving the keys to a Ferrari to a 15-year-old kid who doesn't even know how to make a left turn properly and put on his turn signal, let alone, whip a car around like a racetrack or something at 130 miles per hour. That's the advanced stuff. So you should start focusing on the basics at first, and you can move on later down to the more advanced things, okay? When you have no real skill yet, no real basis of knowledge in order to use something like a race car, you're only going to be able to use a fraction of its full potential. It's about whose hands, something powerful like that is in. It has to be the right trained person. They have to have the right knowledge, the right skill, and that requires lots of practice, lots of studying, lots of, wisdom in order to be able to use something like that. Buying a DAW right now would leave you in a very similar situation, as you can see in this picture of this crashed race car. If you gave this to a 15-year-old, someone who'd never driven before, this is inevitably what would happen. Disaster. And that's what will happen if you purchase a DAW too soon, because there's too much to learn. There's too much to master at one time for you to be able to fully use a DAW to its fullest potential. And amongst all of this, you probably don't have enough experience making music, nor do you really have enough experience using a machine. And because of that, you'd be setting yourself up for disaster. Plus, DAWs are really overkill if you're looking to just make beats at this point right now. So DAWs are very specifically tailored for the recording arts. Okay, so that means like, if you were to make rock music, for example, you needed to record a vocalist, you needed to mic up a drum kit, you need to maybe mic up a bass guitar, a lead guitar, a secondary guitar, then a DAW would probably be a good choice for you, because you'd need some way to record all of this stuff and to mix all of these different sounds, that are going together. But as a sample-based beat maker, as someone who's using Maschine and synthesized VST sounds and things like that, a DAW at this point, where you are right now, would really be overkill, especially for your needs. And let me explain to you why. Okay, I'm sure a lot of you hip-hop heads out there have seen one of these before. All right, and this is a SP1200. Let's quickly talk about what you can learn from this SP1200. It just might be a confusing image for some of you out there. If you don't know, this is a drum machine that was made back in the 1980s. Okay, one of the foundational drum machines in hip-hop. A blogger named Dave Gray that I follow, this guy is very, very wise, and he said, creativity is driven by constraints. Okay, so when we have limited resources, even when the limits are artificial, creative thinking is enhanced. That's because the fewer resources you have, the more you're forced to rely on your ingenuity. Okay, so let me repeat that. Creativity is driven by constraint. When we have limited resources, even when the limits are artificial, creative thinking is enhanced. Okay, a lot of you can probably think of examples of that. Like, that's the entire basis of most creative things that exist in this world. I can specifically talk about this right now just because this is recent in my mind. You talk about soul food. Like, black food in America is a result of creative constraints. If you all know black history in America, slaves were given scraps of leftover food. And from that food, they created dishes that
taste amazing. Okay, that's what soul food is based off of. Dishes like chitlins, black eyed peas, all these greens and things like that. These are not prime cuts of meat. These are secondary scraps of meat and dishes that were given to black people, or that what black people could afford, and we took that trash and turned it into some treasure just because of creative ingenuity and learning how to hook shit up right. That's exactly what music is about in a broader sense. Music is about confining yourself with limited resources and understanding what you have to work with and creatively thinking of a solution to create something great out of nothing. That's what creativity is about. And when using a DAW for a beginner, you really have no boundaries. It almost seems limitless, the possibilities and what you can do. It's too large to overcome for a lot of people, especially when you don't have the training and the foundational skills in order to be able to use these things properly. Okay? When you don't understand arrangement at this point, when you don't understand the basics of putting together a solid drum beat, or chopping, or you don't know how to chop up a sample properly, you don't need the full features of a DAW. You should be focused on mixing and learning EQ at that point. You need to start with the basics first, okay? And this is why I believe at this point, is to bring this all back into this EMU SP1200 right here. This is why some of the greatest art in our genre of music, of hip-hop, has come from situations based upon constraints. Okay, let me give you an example. Some of the greatest hip-hop beats of all time were made using this SP1200, okay? And this thing is compare this system, the SP12, or SP1200 rather, to your Maschine. This thing is like a play school child's toy, okay? Because the only thing that this thing has is 10 seconds of sample memory. 10 freaking seconds, okay? And it only has a measly 26 kilohertz sampling rate and a 12-bit resolution. That's like a third of the quality of today's CD quality sound. That's a tenth of the quality, all right? Even amongst those huge constraints of technology, some of the best hip-hop music of all time was produced on this little thing, all right? As you can see, it has 8 buttons. 8. There's a whole bunch of other stuff, but in terms of musical selection, there's not 16 pads on here. There's 8 damn buttons that don't have velocity control and pad sensitivity and crazy sampling rates like your Maschine does, a crazy library of 12,000 different drum sounds. You can't hook up VSTs and shit to this. There's just the basics, okay? But almost every classic piece of hip-hop that you can name was made using this thing, okay? Who used this? Let me tell you. MF Doom, Q-Tip, Jay Dilla, Ski Beats, Pete Rock, Beastie Boys, RZA, Daft Punk, you name it. They were all using a relative piece of crap compared to the stuff that we have available to us today. In full-featured DAWs, VSTs out the ass, Native Instruments Complete has every sound you could possibly want, but people made the best music of this last generation using essentially a child's toy compared to what we have right now. So if this SP was good enough to make some of the greatest sample-based music of all time, the Maschine is good enough for you to make great music as a beginner producer, okay? That's the point I'm trying to make. Compare the functionality of a modern DAW right now to an SP1200, and you see that the SP1200 has like 1/100th, maybe 1% of the features and capabilities of a DAW like Pro Tools or Ableton Live. Probably even less than 1%, if I'm being honest with you. So naturally, Maschine is more than enough for you to produce some awesome quality beats. All right? Focus on that right now. Focus on the fundamentals. Focus on learning how to choose samples creatively. Focus on learning how to put together solid drum grooves. Focus on learning how to design drum sounds properly. Focus on learning the basics of how to use an equalizer or distortion or reverb within your music before you jump onto the complicated stuff. That's what I'm telling you right now. Don't force yourself to get in over your head by buying too much equipment too early. That was a mistake that I have made. Trust me. I'm saying this from experience. I bought over $5,000 worth of crap that I didn't need and ended up selling it all in order to try to focus myself on learning one specific system, and that's what I have in Maschine. Because Maschine already has everything that you need.
All right, you're following me right now. You're listening to this video because you realize that sample-based music is the way that you want to go. You love hip-hop. You probably love house music as well, or have some sort of affinity for that, or R&B or something. And that's why I think you should focus on learning Maschine for a while first. If you're an advanced person right now, if you, are a recording artist, you've been in this for a while, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the beginners. This is the perfect solution for you as a beginner. You have what you need. All you need to learn how to do is master the basics. Okay? So even for the advanced beat maker, if you're creative enough, I would recommend that you still constrain yourself to a Maschine as well. Don't add unnecessary layers of difficulty into your workflow and into your life. Focus on putting everything that you have into one piece of equipment. All of your knowledge, all of your learning, all of your focus and dedication to one tool that you've mastered and can use like the back of your hand. You know exactly where the things and the sounds are. You know exactly how to load them up. Your workflow is smooth and fast and efficient. You know how to get the things you need to get out of Maschine, okay? So what can you invest instead? So instead of spending your money on toys and investing in DAWs and stuff, I am of the personal belief that you should invest in your education, all right? Invest in your education. You're watching videos right now on YouTube. Focus. If you don't have the money to spend right now, focus on learning free stuff. There's great free material out here that can teach you the basics. Okay? But for right now, I'd like you to do one thing though. Consider this. I want you to subscribe to this channel, to click this button below to help you master the basics of Maschine. I post quality content every day. So click the subscribe button below. I'm going to teach you basically how to make great quality beats on Maschine for free. I post new content damn near every day of great information and techniques on Maschine, all right? And second, if you feel like you are ready for this, I want you to sign up for a free trial of my Beat School program, all right? And let me quickly explain to you what Beat School is all about. Beat School is a collection of some of the best information that you need as a beginner Maschine producer to help you maximize Maschine's creative workflow. Okay, so that you can create great quality hip-hop beats using only your Maschine and don't have to go out and purchase a really expensive DAW. That's what this Beat School program is about. It's teaching you how to maximize Maschine. Inside of this program, I give you the beginning to end formula of how to master your Maschine, to teach you how to create great hip-hop beats using your Maschine without any DAW required, okay? This Beat School program is going to get you to a professional level of understanding of Maschine so that you can just sit down at your Maschine and be creative without even having to think about what you're doing, okay? So that you can grab Maschine, load up some sound files, get to creating, quickly know exactly what you're doing, exactly how to access the sounds you need, the workflow that you need to follow, the exact steps that you need to take to create the sound that you want, so that you have the knowledge in order to put together great drum grooves, so that you know how to recognize a great sample, so that you know how to arrange beats properly on your Maschine, so that you know how to take things to the final mix down in Maschine, so that when you're ready, you can bounce things off to a DAW. Once you have those skills, once you have great mixing skills and can mix within your Maschine, you can take things to that level, okay? Not to mention inside of this Beat School program, as I'll show you right here, there are over 30 plus lessons, 30 plus videos that I've added so far, and there are more being posted every week that go into concepts like mastering Maschine's creative workflow. I talk about the sampling formula, which is breaking down how to find great samples. I teach you a formula for that, how to build great drums on Maschine. We talk about mixing on Maschine, arrangement on Maschine, pretty much everything that you need to get yourself to a professional level of understanding. I mean, you pay probably $500, maybe even some of you, if you have Maschine Studio, $1,000 for this thing. This is the program that is going to help you clear up the confusion about Maschine so that you can finally learn exactly what you need to know in order to make great beats using this thing. Okay, this is going to help take your music to the next level. And what I need you to do to get started is click the button below. There's a button. If you are on the blog, if you're watching this on YouTube, there's a button, or excuse me, a link within the description that will take you to a page that you can find out more information about what's exactly in this program. I'll spell out all the lessons and things like that, and you also have the opportunity to sign up for a free trial of this program, a free 7-day trial, okay? So click the link below, sign up for your 7-day free trial of this Beat School program. Find out the information that's inside of here and see if you like it or not. Take it for a test drive. Again, my name is Rob. Click the subscribe button below to get more great free information. Even if you don't decide to sign up for this Beat School program, I'm posting a lot of great stuff for you in the days to come, all right? So I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.